Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on After GMS. Today is Thursday, May 19th. Check your calendars twice, though, because it won't feel like May 19th.
I was like, where are you going with that?
Oh, I always have a direction. I don't know if I get there, but I have a direction. I'm Tracy McCain here with Ed Matthews, Megan Malaris, and Christian Morgan.
Morning.
We are heating up in the triad, of course, ahead of a potential isolated storm chance this afternoon, but that's all tied to this heating of the air, bringing us possibly our first 90-degree day of the year today.
I think it's very likely we have our first 90-degree day of the year and then 2 more after this one.
Wow. So while we get ready to talk all about the nitty-gritty of that and how long it's going to last, we want you to go ahead and weigh in on our first conversation of the day. This time of year, when we turn up the heat, we usually turn down the AC. The household thermostat battles begin, at least in my house. So on what temperature do you set your thermostat this time of year? While you drop your answers, let's go ahead and get to it.
All right, let's talk about it. The heat and humidity are on. Ready or not? Here come the 90s and plenty of those on the way for today. As you look out over downtown High Point, you have kind of a filtered sunshine look to the sky. We have some very thin high clouds hanging overhead, really not hindering us from being bright outside, but yes, it has a filtered sunshine look to it, not that beautiful Carolina blue sky that we normally see. 65 in High Point right now, 67 in Greensboro, 69 Winston-Salem, everybody approaching 70 degrees this morning already, and yeah, that humidity has made a grand return, has it not? Dew points about 10 degrees warmer this morning than they were yesterday morning at this time. Dew points already in the low 60s in some of our southern counties, near 60 in the triad, and those will continue to creep up as we go throughout the day. On the radar, really not too much happening here at home. There were a few storms coming over the mountains earlier, and as expected, those have all fizzled out on their approach to the Piedmont. Nothing more than a sprinkle or maybe a little shower in the foothills this morning. That's about it. Of course, as we go into the afternoon, a real big driving feature on the weather map is this area of high pressure, and that really gives us a south and southwesterly wind, which continues to heat us up and make us humid over the next few days. So really no cold fronts, no big weather systems impacting us, and really no trigger for thunderstorms today. However, the heat and humidity may be enough. I kind of equate this to a child pulling the rope of a lawnmower, not really an adult, if that makes sense for you. So there's no real big trigger, no big push for storms. So we'll just kind of wait on the heat and humidity of the day to get anything going. If any storms do pop up, though, the ingredients are there for them to be severe. Main concerns would be for a damaging wind gust, and I also think a little more than normal, we have a risk for large hail in any storms that form this afternoon. So we'll keep an eye on it for you. You do the same. Good idea to check on the radar from time to time and keep an eye to the sky if you plan on being outside this afternoon. Otherwise, it's just a hot and humid day with a partly sunny sky. We're on our way to 90 degrees this afternoon. And after this, 2 more after that. 93 on Friday, 93 on Saturday. And I've had the question a lot whether or not we're going to break any records over the next few days. It will be tough, although I think if we have any chance at doing it, Friday is going to be the day. Forecasted 93, the record for Friday is 95. That was set back in 1917. Elsewhere, it just kind of feels like summer for the next several days. The best chance for showers and scattered storms will come on Sunday and Monday as the cold front approaches the Piedmont. Then after that, things look to be a little drier, a little less humid, and a little cooler too. Mid-70s Tuesday, back up to 80 by next Wednesday.
Right, so the question that we are dealing with this morning is about your thermostat. How cool do you like to set it?
Me?
Sure. Why not?
So when I'm gone during the day,
Yeah.
I have been leaving it at 75,
Okay.
but now it's down to 73. With 90s on the way, I set it at 73 this morning, but I cool it back down to 69, 70 at night.
Okay, so this time of year, my thermostat is set on 72. I try to inch it up to 73, and I notice that later in the day, it's back down to 72. It's like those unspoken thermostat battles in our house this time of year. If it were up to me only, it would be on 77, honestly. I like it warm. I don't mind it warm. When I was growing up, my mom had it on 78, and I'm sure our AC bill was far less than, you know, the average family, just because we all are naturally very cold, but not my husband and my son. They can sweat within like just spending 30 seconds outside. So have to keep that in mind. I just keep a sweater around the house, but yeah, 72 a little chilly for me, but that's our compromise.
I was going to ask if I know that Christian and Elizabeth are not the culprits of turning this thermostat down.
They are not, and neither is the cat. So by process of elimination, it's either my husband or a ghost.
Very good detective work.
Yes.
Exactly. I don't know what ours is set at. I just know that if it's hot, I turn it down.
Yeah.
If it's cold, I turn it up. And I just and we usually just leave it at the same point. So I don't even look at it because I know that it's like no one touches it.
Yeah.
It's just the same all the time. So I don't even know. So I'm just
As long as you're
glad
comfortable.
that we have, a compromise in my house where nobody touches it. Unlike here, this is where I have the problem. In this building, my home is comfortable. Here it's cold. So like I was just explaining on our feed here, the warmer it is outside, the colder it gets inside the studio. And I think the temperatures are set at 65 in here. So while I'm appropriately dressed for outside, in here I'm like, I need a sweater.
Yeah.
And a big coat. And a scarf.
And there you go. Yeah, dress for winter.
Dress for the studio. How about you, Ed?
I keep my thermostat on 75. I'm one of these people. There's something about my air conditioning when it does come on. I mean, it's like a winter blast.
Yeah.
It's like an Arctic blast. Boy, that thing cools things off quickly. But I think 75 is comfortable. But one thing that really helps me, and you know how frugal I am, I do everything in my will to keep the power bill down, but ceiling fans are very popular at my place. So I keep the air-conditioned air, if you will, circulating around, and that's the reason I'm able to keep it at 75. What, Christian, did you say upper 60s, low 70s for you?
69, 70 at night.
I'd freeze.
But see,
and that's just me.
I
you know.
like to use the covers for what they're intended for.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like I want to get in the bed and have to cover up.
Yeah.
Right? And then, of course, during the day, like I can't stand walking around the house while it's cold. I
Right.
warm it up then.
Now, you know, it's interesting you say that because if I go somewhere, i.e. Key West, and I've got my own room and I'm paying a fortune for it, I crank the AC down to about 60. And then I do the snuggling under the cover because I don't have to pay the power bill there, you know?
Yeah. Everybody else's dime. I love it.
I got a buddy that I travel with, one of my best buddies, and he likes it cold. I mean, his house all the time. His house like stays on like 69, 70.
No.
Ooh.
And so anytime I go or travel with him anywhere, I'm like, should I bring a blanket? Even though we're staying in a hotel, should I bring a blanket so I have extra? Because he likes to cut it down. I'll wake up in the middle of the night like, what happened in here?
A lot of people are agreeing with you on our feed here, saying they like to keep it cooler at night. Well, we give you a few more moments to drop your comments here. I posed the question on my Facebook page earlier, and one of our Good Morning Show directors, Jess, said 75. She's always cold and cannot take it much lower. I'm with you, Jess. Sharon said 74, but at night she turns it down to 71.
There was another Jessica on your page, apparently, who said 69 was her choice, and Libby added 77.
They say the coldest season in the South is summer at the office.
At the office.
There's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what you're saying here. Sheree says she keeps her thermostat on 77, sometimes 76. Close the curtains to keep the heat out. That's not a bad idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we take the direct afternoon sun, so those rooms are quite warm in the afternoon. Melody said, don't like to be hot or cold either. Lakaya said she's always hot, try 72, but her daughter puts it on 61.
Oh my goodness.
Send her the bill for that. Belinda said 77, whether it's winter or summer, all year, 77. 77 heat, though.
Yeah.
Costs a lot, especially
Oh gosh, yeah.
if you're on gas. Yeah.
All right, great comments, guys. This is funny. In response to my comments about it being colder in the office, Bobby said, do you think they keep it cool in there to keep everyone alert? And I think you might be onto something. Keep everybody awake, especially this in the mornings,
He raises a
when
good
we
point.
get in. Yeah. It's like, oh no, you are going to be alert in here. I am
No
wide
falling
awake.
asleep.
I think there was a study done a few years ago that actually said women do better in warmer office spaces and men do better in colder office spaces. So I think probably these office places try to find a happy medium, but when it's super cold, have a hard time just thinking straight because I'm thinking about how cold it is. I'm like, wait, my jacket's right over there. Please just let me put it on. And then, you forget to take it off and it's almost time to go back on air. But it's something we have to deal with. We're fortunate to be able to have air conditioning. I want to make that clear, especially given how hot it can be in North Carolina in the heat of summer or even in the spring with this humidity.
Yeah.
you know, we are thankful to have what we have, and it's important to check on our neighbors, especially the elderly this time of year.
Absolutely.
When temperatures get extreme.
Yeah, I hate working when it's hot, too. That's why, you know, it's funny, people always talk about meteorologists taking their coats off during severe weather. I just take it off because I get hot.
Right.
I'm like, I can't, I'm
It's the
sweating out of this
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
The adrenaline, or the fact that you went to App State and just love it cold all the time.
It's supposed to be cold all the time.
All right, great conversation. I'm sure this will not be the last of our discussion about hot weather and what you're doing to combat it, but we do have some other morning headlines to get to, including this developing story we've been on top of since the early morning hours. A house fire on Kings Meadow Drive in Winston-Salem now under control, according to investigators. They say a family of 7 was inside when the fire started, but smoke alarms alerted them, and the family was able to get out safely. So glad to report that. Denise McMiller says it took 5 fire companies and more than 30 firefighters to put out the fire. Today, the CDC will meet to discuss recommending Pfizer's COVID booster shot for children ages 5 to 11. So far, the agency's scientific advisors have not formally backed the extra dose. The FDA approved it for that age group earlier this week. Local health experts say they do recommend parents go ahead and sign up their children for the shot as infections start to rise again.
Well, racing fans are celebrating 75 years at the historic North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's going to start undergoing renovation pretty soon. Many of these fans were there for the first time in years, or for the first time ever. Look at everybody. Some of them probably too young to remember races there, but Bill Blair remembers it like it was yesterday. He was 9 years old when his father took him to the track, and that was the first race, which was again 75 years ago.
It brings back memories, and you can make chill bumps run up down your arms. It's so touching of the history that happened here 75 years ago. These people laid the foundation for stock car racing.
It's such a blessing that he's still there so he can share this history with everybody who's not familiar with it. Blair says it means everything to him to return to a track that feels like home, and it will be ready post-renovations this fall.
So this all brought up a sense of nostalgia, and earlier on the Good Morning Show, we asked you what your favorite piece of North Carolina history is. Van said, proud of the Rock Village my father-in-law Henry Warren built in Prospect Hill in Caswell County. Robin said, having grown up and spent 51 out of her 55 years here in Greensboro, she'd have to say the Natural Science Center and Greensboro Historical Museum. They might have different names now, but growing up visiting those places helped her appreciate North Carolina history. And this viewer says the barbecue and sweet tea.
Hard to argue that.
All right, let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. This is the way things are looking. Cranking up the heat. We think we're going to have our first 90-degree day here in the Piedmont. We'll be on the lookout for some late afternoon and evening isolated storms. Don't expect much, but we could see a few strong or severe storms with some hail and damaging winds. So stay weather aware, and we'll keep an eye on things for you. And then basically just hot and for the most part dry Friday and Saturday, even hotter with highs both days up around 93. There could be a pop-up storm, but only a 20% chance. Now, as we head into Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, a cold front will be approaching from the west. That'll give us a better chance of showers and storms in upper 80s, and then we'll cool back into the 70s once that front goes through. Maybe a few leftover showers on Monday, but 78 is going to feel real good, and 74 even better on Tuesday after dealing with low 90s and humidity here in the Piedmont.
I can't wait for Monday. I look forward to a Friday and a weekend every week, but Monday, there's just something about feeling refreshed after days of excessive heat. And can we say excessive heat? I mean, I guess not, because that would be like 100 degrees, right?
Well, it's above normal, so I would consider it to be excessive
heat.
Excessive heat. Makes me sweat hearing you say that.
Oh, that's
oh,
good. That's my-
excessive.
that's my
excessive. But you're
goal
right.
every day.
It really is. It really is. I mean, you think about all the different adjectives you can use to express hot weather. So yeah, excessive is.
All right.
That's part of the great vocabulary.
It's excessive heat, but it's not out of the ordinary, so it's weird,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, we were talking earlier, our first 90-degree day is usually around May 18th, so we're pretty much
Right on
time.
track.
Yeah.
Although last year you said it was late, which July before we got 90.
Yeah, last year was May 24th, so
Oh, 2
a
years
little
ago,
late.
okay.
2020 was July 1st before we ever got a 90-degree day.
Well, that was a weird year. So
It was a weird year in so
was
many
weird
different
all
ways.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, be prepared though. Obviously, this is a day where you're going to want to make sure the kids have sunscreen on or are dressed coolly or at least in layers because this heat is no joke.
And I would say wear sunscreen today. You got to put that on today. UV index is really high, so it's really easy to get burned. Today in a short amount of time too. And even if you're under a cloud or in a shady spot, you can still get burned. So
Yeah, my
that
daughter's
sunscreen on.
preschool was supposed to have a water Olympics today outside, but they postponed it till next week because of the advisory, the sun advisories and all of that stuff. So she will wait, but she'll probably beg me later.
Do that at home, yeah.
Exactly. But something to know. So you're gonna need sunscreen during the day, and then tonight make sure that your phones are charged up just in case something happens. I like what Ed always says: a storm pops off.
Yeah, get one of those to pop up.
Yeah.
It could potentially be nasty. I don't think we'll see a lot, but the few that develop could get strong or severe pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right. So be prepared for that. And we will see you next time on After GMS.
All right, get out there and get to it.
See ya.